Good afternoon, students. I welcome you all for the class. Today, we are going to start the fourth unit, which is 8086 pin diagram. So, in the previous class, we have till the previous classes, we have seen regarding that computer architecture part. And today, from this class onwards, we'll be going to study the 8086 microprocessor. Fine. So, today, you will be going to study the new concept, which is related to ECE. ECE students will have this 8086 processors. So here in this today's unit, fourth unit, we'll be going to see what is an introduction of 8086 microprocessor and what is the pin diagram of this 8086 microprocessor. So we are having different microprocessors. Among that, today we will be concentrating on this 8086 microprocessor, which is a part of your syllabus. And for IT people, it is 8085 microprocessor. So here, when it comes to the introductory part, this 8086 is a 16-bit microprocessor. Fine. 8086 is a 16-bit microprocessor. So here this 16-bit microprocessor it is developed by Intel in 1978. This microprocessor is going to have 40-pin DIP in the sense dual inline package. So this 8086 microprocessor is very better when compared with 8085. Why? Because this 8086 can be applied in two different modes. The first one is the maximum mode and the second one is the minimum mode. So maximum mode is multi-processor configuration. When it comes to the minimum mode, it is a single processor configuration. So this is the two different modes in which this 8085 processor is going to work. Fine. So this is how we are going to have the introductory part of this 8086 microprocessor. So when it comes to the pin diagram of this 8086 microprocessor, here you can see this. It is a 40-pin microprocessor. Here there are two modes, maximum mode and the second mode is the minimum mode. So maximum mode and the minimum mode. So what do you mean by a maximum mode? In the sense, maximum mode, all these pins will work, and the minimum mode, only the pins from 24 to 32 will work. Fine. So this 24 to 32 pins works in dual mode. Dual mode in the sense they work in both the maximum mode as well as in minimum mode. Fine. So here when it comes to the pin diagram, so here we'll be going to see regarding each and every pin. Here the 40th pin is the VCC, which is the power supply for this microprocessor 8086. Here we need to give an external power supply of 5 volts plus 5 volts power supply is needed in order to operate this 8086 microprocessor. And here we'll be going to have this pin number 1 to 20. So this pin number 1 to 20, 1 to 20. These two pins, one and not 1 to 20, these two pins, 1 and 20. 1 is the ground and 20 is also the ground. Fine. Pin number 1 and 20. These two pins acts as a ground. What is a ground in the sense? This pin directs the extra current to the microprocessor to the ground. Fine. If more than 5 volts are coming, in the sense that's been sending to the ground, so we need only plus 5 volts power supply. So if more than that comes, means this 1 and 20 pin will take care of and will transfer that extra power supply to the ground. In our homes also, we will be going to have a earth connection, right? If more power came, in the sense that will be taken by the ground. Fine. So that is the use of 1 and 20 pins. Here AD0 to AD15. So starting from here, this AD0 to here till here 14, and the 15th pin is here. So AD0 to AD15 in the sense. So here AD0 to AD15 in the sense, what are the pins? From pin number 16 to pin number 2 and pin number 15, AD15. So And these are the multiplexed address and data bus. A stands for address and D stands for data. So address data bus. So instead of providing separate lines for address and separate lines pins for data bus, they have been multiplexed this address and data bus. Why? Because only at one time address can be transferred or data can be transferred. Both address and data can't be provided at the same time. So instead of making separate lines for address and separate pins for data, what we are going to do is we are going to have a multiplexed in the sense combination of address and data. So multiplexed address and data bus. So the pin 16 to 2 is of AD0 to AD14 and the pin 15 is of AD15. So here uh, uh, here AD15 pin number is 39. So this 39 pin number is also going to be used. Fine. So here this pin number is AD39. Fine. So these are the multiplex address and data bus. So we know that 8086 microprocessor is a like a 20-bit microprocessor. So 20-bit address bus. So it is a 20-bit address bus and 16-bit data bus. Fine. This 8086 microprocessor is having a 20-bit address bus and a 16-bit data bus. So 16 lines of address and data bus are multiplexed together, so as to reduce the number of IC lines inside the 8086 processor. So we need to know the fact that at a time either address will be transferred or either data will be transferred. Both can be transferred at a time. So that is the use of this AD0 to AD15. So all these are we have covered for AD0 to AD14, and this pin AD15 bit is also covered. VCC power supply is also covered, and this ground, this both ground has been covered. Fine. So here we are going to have number from here. When we are going to look over here, so here number 38 to 35. Fine. So here 35 to 38. What are 35 to 38 in the sense? AD19 to AD15 to AD19. So out of 20 bits, 4 are present in the multiplexed form with the status signal. So what I have said you 20 address bus. So here 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So 0 to 19 are there. That means 1 to 20. So out of this 20, here we are going to provide 4 like this 35 to 38. So these 35 to 38 pins are multiplexed with the S3, S4, S5, S6 and S7. So this S3, S4, S5, S6, S7 are status signals. So these are the status signals. So we are going to multiplex the status signals with the this AD address of 16, 17, 18 and 19. Fine. So in this case of memory operation, these pin acts as an address bus and contains the memory address. So basically the signal at S3 and S4 shows that which segment is currently accessed by the microprocessor. That is the main important case. So here we'll be going to have a table for this S3 and S4. So if you are going to have a table, so S3 bit and S4 bit, what is the status? Fine. So if S3 is 0 and S4 is 0 in the sense, here we'll be going to have extra segment. The status will be in extra segment. 0 and 1 in the sense it is of stack segment, and 1 and 0 in the sense it is of code segment, or we can say it is in idle state. If it is 1 1 in the sense it is in data segment. So we'll be going to have the status for S3 and S signals. Also S5 when enabled shows the presence of an interrupt. So this S5 when it is enabled means it shows the interrupt. So if an interrupt occurs, in the sense this S5 will be going to showing an interrupt. The signal at S6, when we are going to talk regarding, so S5 is used for interrupt. It is going to show if an interrupt comes, means it by shows at F5 signal. When it comes to the S6, it shows the status of the bus master for the current operation. So here the bus master or any other device is acting as the bus master. So when 0 is present at this signal pin, then it indicates that 80 is holding the access of the bus. If 0 is present at this, means 8086 is holding the access of the bus. Otherwise it is in high, that is one impedance state. No, nothing is going to happen. Here we'll be going to have the BHE by S7. BHE stands for bus high enable. This pin stands for bus high enable. So the combination of this BHE by S7 status informs about the existence of the data on the data bus. If the data is present on the data bus, this pin is going to be telling. So existence of data present on the data bus. So here different combinations show whether the bus is containing the overall 16-bit address or upper byte address or lower byte address. So here for this BHE by S7, we'll be going to have a table. So BHE S7 and what is the status over here. So if BHE is 0 and S7 bit is also 0, in the sense here all 16 bits will be accessed. So if it is 0 and if it is 1, in the sense only upper byte will be accessed. If it is 1 and this is 0, in the sense only lower byte will be accessed. If it is 1 and 1, in the sense no operation is going to be done. So this is how we'll be going to have the BHE by S7 pin. So BHE stands for bus high enable and S7 pin, that is the signal pin. So this is how we'll be going to have the status of this BHE S7, bus high enable S7. So if both are 0, in the sense all 16 bits can be accessed. 0 1 in the sense only upper bit. Suppose 20 60, in the sense only upper bit can, this is the lower bit and this is the upper bit, only upper bit can be accessed. If it is 1 0, in the sense only lower bit can be accessed. If it is 1 1, in the sense nothing will be accessed. So that is the point of this BHE by S7. And next comes to the MN and MX. MN stands for minimum, MX stands for maximum. The status at this particular pin shows whether the process is operating at a minimum mode or in the maximum mode. As signal 0, if it is 0, this 8086 is operating at maximum mode. When signal is 1, the 8086 is operating at minimum mode. So that is the use of this minimum maximum. Read, RD is read. This an active low signal at this pin shows that microprocessor is performing the read operation. Active low signal shows that it is performing the read operation either with memory or the IO devices. So here when it comes to the pin number 19, so till now here we have seen, right? So we'll be going to discuss this later. And now come here, when it comes to the pin number 19, this is the clock signal. So a signal at this pin provides the timing to the internal operations that are being executed. Which operation has to take place at what time, everything is going to provide by this clock signal. Clock signal is nothing but a timing signal. And next one is the NMI pin. This 17 is the NMI. NMI stands for non-maskable interrupt. NMI stands for non-maskable interrupt. Fine. These are basically uncontrollable interrupts also, we can say, generated inside the processor. Fine. So when NMI occurs, the interrupt service routine is generated by the interrupt vector table itself. Non-maskable interrupts and maskable interrupts will be going to have. Maskable interrupts means the CPU can take the decision whether to attend that interrupt or not. Non-maskable in the sense it is having the highest priority, must and should the CPU has to attend. So that is the purpose of this NMI. And next, the pin number coming to the pin number 23, this side. So pin number 23 is a test. This test pin number, this pin basically shows the wait instruction. So test is nothing but it is basically showing the wait instruction. So whenever a low signal at this pin occurs, the processing inside the processor continues. Low means the processing continues. Processing continues inside the processor. Again, in case of high signal, in the sense, if it is high in the sense, the processor has to wait. So that is the purpose of this test. And after test signal, we'll be going to have this pin. INTR pin is also left over, right? So when it comes to the INTR pin, this INTR stands for interrupt request. So the processor after each clock cycle samples this INTR. This signal pin found to be high or low. If it is found to be high, then the processor controls the interrupt internally. So that is the purpose of this INTR. INTR stands for interrupt request. And when it comes to this ready, so this INTR stands for interrupt request. Interrupt request. And when it comes to the ready signal, whenever this pin is enabled, then it resets the processor. Reset the processor. Fine. This ready signal is enabled. It is going to reset the processor and other devices to the system by immediately terminating the task. So whatever the task we are going to do at that time, it is going to be terminated when the ready signal is active. So when it comes to pin number 24, so here when it comes to the pin number 24, here INTA bar is there. So it is an interrupt acknowledgement. So whenever the interrupt came, so whenever INTR signal is here, see, check here, this INTR interrupt signal is generated, then the microprocessor generates the interrupt acknowledgement signal. That means a response to the interrupt. That I have received that request like that INTA, in the sense it is a response to the interrupt. Fine. So here when it comes to the pin number 25, ALE in the sense address latch enable. Address latch enable. So whenever an address is present in the multiplexed address and data bus, then the microprocessor enables this pin. So that is the purpose of this address latch enable. And next one is DEN. DEN stands for like data enable. DEN stands for data enable. So this is an active low pin. So why? Because here complement is there, right? It is an active low pin. That means that whenever a 0 is present, 0 complement is 1 over here. Then this pin then the transceiver gets enabled and separates the data from the multiplex address and data bus. Data enable means like data is present on the data bus. So as we are having multiplex address and the data bus, so we are going to separate the data from the multiplex address and the data bus. So that is the purpose of this. And next one is DT by R bar. So DT by R bar, this pin is used to show whether the data is getting transmitted or received. DT is means data transmitter, R means receiver. So this pin is used to check whether the data has been transmitted or whether the data is been receiving. So a signal high at this provides the information regarding the transmission of data, while a low indicates the receiving of data. The low means receiving of data, high means transmitting of data. And next one is M by IO bar. This is for memory by input output. This indicates that whether the processor is performing an operation with the memory or it is going to perform the operation with the IO device. So whenever a high is present, this pin, that the operation is carried out through memory. Whenever a low is present, the processor is carried out through the input output operation. Next one is WR bar. So whenever an external device enables this pin, then the processor stops accessing the buses immediately. So that is the purpose of this WR pin. And hold hold and hold acknowledgement. Hold in the sense this pin. So when an external device enables this pin, then the processor stops accessing the buses immediately. So after getting the task, it is going to stop the processor immediately. Acknowledge in the sense this pin is used to response the hold request. This hold request has come now, that for that hold request it is giving an acknowledgement signal. So that is the purpose of this thing. So here that is the purpose of hold and hold acknowledgement. Here the pins, these three pins, minimum mode, maximum mode pins. So S0, S1 and S2. S0, S1 and S2, not here. S0, S1 and S2. So here there is a table for this three pins. So if what the table shows is the status, what are the pins and what is the status of that pins, we'll be going to show over here. So I'll be going to draw this table over here, S0, S1 and S2, and what is the status. Fine. If both are zeros in the sense, the status is INTA. INTA in the sense interrupt acknowledgement. If it is 001 in the sense, it is going to do read or IO operation. And if it is 010 in the sense, write IO operations. And if it is 011 in the sense, then it is going to do the halt operation. And the next combination is 100 in the sense, it is read memory operation. And next 110 in the sense, write memory operation. And last one 111 in the sense, it is going to perform the no operation. This is how the status of this S0, S1 and S2. So if three pins are 0, then we are going to have the interrupt acknowledgement. If 001 in the sense, we are going to read the IO operation. 10 in the sense, write the operation. 11 in the sense, halting, that means waiting. If it is 100, reading the memory operation, 110, writing the memory operation, and 111 is no operation is going to be done. So that is the purpose of this three pins, S0, S1 and S2. Fine. And next pin, these two pins are there, right? OS0 and OS1. So these two pins indicate the status of the prefetch queue. 6-byte prefetch queue will be present in the 8086 microprocessor. So what are these pins? So these pins are 26, 27, 26 to 28 pins are this purpose, and 24 pin and 25 pin, that is QS0 and QS1. What is the status of this? So if both are 0 in the sense, it is going to perform no operation. If it is 0 and 1 in the sense, it is going to fetch first byte from queue, first byte from queue. And if it is 10 in the sense, it is going to empty the queue. And if it is 1 in the sense, the subsequent byte from the queue. Fine. The subsequent byte, what is there, that byte from the queue. So that is corresponding to QS0 and QS1. And here we'll be going to have the 29th pin, lock pin. So this pin is involved in maximum mode operation. Fine. So basically when a single processor is accessing the buses and the peripherals, then it locks the resources by using this pin. Only one has to use now. So that is the purpose of this lock pin. And RQ by GT0 and RQ by GT1. So what are these two pins holds for? So due to the involvement of multiprocessors, what these pins will do is, these pins indicate the request and grant the permissions. So that is the purpose of the R0, RQ in the sense request, GT in the sense grant. So RQ0 and 1. So request and grant. So these two pins will be particularly for requesting the permissions and requesting the things and granting the permissions. So these are all the pins that are going to be available in the 8086 microprocessor, and the working of each pin is explained clearly. So the remaining is the notes for the respective theory part, explanation part, what I have said you. First you listen the pin diagram concept and then you study the theory, then it will be more beneficial to you in understanding easily. Fine. So this is how the pin diagram, 40 pins will be there, and the explanation of each and every pin is clearly said over here. Go through the video clearly and understand the concept very much. Fine. And for today's class, we'll be winding up, and we'll be going to go with the next topic in the tomorrow's class. And thank you all students. Have a great day.